Hello friends, this is Professor Shashikant Lamkani, working as Assistant Professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering of NB Navle Sinhagad College of Engineering, Kegaon, Solapur. I am having 11 years of teaching experience and 1.5 years of industrial experience. I have completed my post-graduation with mechanical design engineering. So in this video, I am going to cover the topic gear trends. So under gear train we are going to see the different contents in this video, that is types of gear trains. So the types, under the types, first one is a simple gear train, second one is a compound gear train, third one is a epicyclic gear train, and last one is the reverted gear train. So under epicyclic gear train there are two more type. One is a simple epicyclic gear train and another one is a compound epicyclic gear train. So before moving to actual content, we are going to see what is the meaning of gear train. The two or more gears are made to mesh with each other to transmit the power from one shaft to another. Such a combination is called as gear train or train of toothed wheel. It means that when two or more gears are meshing with each other to transmit the power from one shaft to another, then this combination is called as gear train. So this combination is shown in figure. This is the first shaft on which there is a one gear. This is the second shaft on which there is a another gear. So these two gears are meshing with each other. So first shaft is a driver and second shaft is a driven. So here we are going to transmit the power from one shaft to another shaft with the help of the gear train. So this is the three-dimensional view of gear train. So after this we are going to see the actual content of the video, that is types of gear train. So very first type of gear train is a simple gear train. Now, what is simple gear train? When there is only one gear on each shaft, as shown in figure, it is known as simple gear train. It means that one gear on each shaft, then the gear train is called as simple gear train. So here this is the first shaft and this is the second shaft. So on each shaft there is a only one gear, then we can call it as a simple epicyclic gear train. So along with the construction, so we are going to see the velocity ratio, as first gear is a driver and second one is a driven. So there is a transmission of power from driver to driven. So that's why we are going to see the speed ratio of this gear. So for speed ratio we require some terms, that is n1. N1 is the speed of gear 1 or driver in rpm. Then n2 is the speed of gear 2 or driven or follower in rpm. Then t1 number of teeth on gear 1 and t2 be the number of teeth on gear 2. So n1 speed of gear 1, n2 speed of gear 2, t1 number of teeth on gear 1 and t2 be the number of teeth on gear 2. So now we see the speed ratio or velocity ratio. So what is the meaning of speed ratio or velocity ratio? The speed ratio or velocity ratio of gear train is ratio of speed of driver to the speed of driven. So velocity ratio is simply nothing but ratio of speed of driver to the speed of driven gear. So it represent mathematically. So n1 upon n2 is called as speed ratio. So n1 be the speed of driver and n2 be the speed of driven. So it may represent with the in the form of number of teeth. Okay, so the number of teeth, so t2 upon t1 is the nothing but the speed ratio. So it may be noted that the ratio of speed of driven or follower to the speed of driver is known as train value of gear train. Okay, so the speed ratio is n1 upon n2, then the train value is reciprocal of it, that is n2 upon n1. So mathematically train value will be n2 upon n1, and similar to this is equal to in the form of t1 upon t2. So train value is the reciprocal of speed ratio. So as the equation here n1 upon n2, the equation of train value become n2 upon n1. Similar way here the equation is t2 upon t1. As it is a reciprocal, the train value is a reciprocal of speed ratio, that's why it becomes t1 upon t2. So we are going to see some more cases for the simple gear train. So when the distance between two gear is large, when the distance between two gear or two shaft is large, then in that case we are going to transmit the power from one shaft to another shaft by two methods. So first method by providing large size gear, and second method by providing one or more intermediate gears. But the first method is not convenient and it is a uneconomical method. That's why preferably we prefer the second condition, that is provision of the one or more intermediate gear to transmit the power from one shaft to another shaft when the distance between these two shafts is large. Okay, so here in this figure the one gear is used as a intermediate gear. So as one is odd number, so therefore the direction of driver as well as direction of driven is same, and if the number of intermediate gears are even, then the uh, direction of rotation of driver and direction of rotation of driven is in opposite direction. It means that when we are going to use odd number of intermediate gear, then the direction of driver as well as driven is same, and if we use the number of intermediate gears are even, then the direction of driver and driven is opposite. So now we are going to see the velocity ratio for this case. So before moving to velocity ratio, we are going to see some terms. So here n1 is a speed of driver, n2 is the speed of intermediate gear, and n3 is the speed of driven gear. Similarly, T1 is the T1 is the number of teeth on driver, T2 is the number of teeth on intermediate gear, and T3 is the number of teeth on a driven gear. Now we are going to see the velocity ratio. So first we are going to concentrate on gear 1 and 2. So as they are in mesh with each other. So velocity ratio for gear 1 and 2 is n1 upon n2. So n1 upon n2 is equal to t2 upon t1. So this is equation number 1. Now this gear 2 is in meshing with gear 3. Then the speed ratio of gear 2 and 3 is n2 upon n3 is equal to t3 upon t2. The speed ratio of this gear train is obtained by multiplying equation 1 and 2. So after multiplication of equation number 2, then the equation is n1 upon n2 into n2 upon n3 is equal to t2 upon t1 into t3 upon t2. But here n2 and n2 get cancelled and these t2 and t2 get cancelled, therefore The final equation for this such type of gear train is N1 upon N3, and N1 upon N3 is equal to T3 upon T1. Now, so here the speed ratio is again speed of driver to the speed of driven, and number of teeth on driven to the number of teeth on driver. Similar way, train value is a reciprocal of speed ratio. Therefore, the value for train value for this gear train is speed of driven upon speed of driver is equal to number of teeth on driver to the number of teeth on driven. So similarly, it can be proved that the above equation holds good even if there are any number of intermediate gears. So from above we see that the speed ratio and the train value in the simple gear train are independent on size and number of intermediate gear. These intermediate gears are called as ideal gear as they do not affect the speed ratio of or train value of the system. The idle gears are used for following two purposes. So this is also called as idle gear or intermediate gear, and this is used for two purposes: to connect the gear where a large center distance is required, and second, to obtain the desired direction of motion of the driven gear. Now, if there are two intermediate gear, as we discussed previously, when the number of intermediate gear are even, then the direction of rotation of driver and driven is opposite. Now for such gear train we also find out the speed ratio. So as N1 and N2 is in mesh, so therefore speed ratio for these two, N1 upon N2 is equal to T2 upon T1. This is equation number 1. Similarly, T2 and T3 are in mesh with each other, so T2 upon T3 is equal to T3 upon T2. This is equation number 2. And lastly, the gear 3 is in mesh with gear 4, so therefore N3 upon N4 is equal to T4 upon T3. This is the equation number 3, and after multiplication we will get the value N1 upon N4 is equal to N4 upon, sorry, T4 upon T1. So this is the final equation of such type of gear train. So this is about the simple gear train. Now we are going to move towards the compound gear train. Now what is the meaning of compound gear train? When there is a more than one gear on the shaft as shown in figure, then it is called as compound gear train. So when there is more than one gear on one of the shaft. So here this is the first driver and this is the last gear, that is a driven. This is the first one is a driver and last one is a driven. So in between these two, so instead of intermediate gear or idle gear, there is a use of compound gears. So in this case there are more than one gear on one single shaft. So on this shaft there are two gear. So on the shaft C there are also two gear. So these two are the compound gears, and first one is a driver and second one is a driven. So this 3D figure clarify that. So first one is a driver. So on there is a single gear. Second, third shaft is a driven, and in between these two gear there is a the compound gear. So on the shaft there are more than one gear. So we have previously seen that the ideal gear in a simple gear train do not affect the speed ratio of system, but these gears are useful to bridging over the space between the driver and driven. Okay, so here this type of compound gear are going to bridging the space between the driver and driven gear. So now we see the velocity ratio for this compound gear. For that purpose we required some terms, that is n1 be the speed of driver, t1 number of teeth on driver, then n2, n3, n2, n3, n4, n5 and n6 the speed of respective gears in rpm. Similarly, t2, t3, t4, t5, t6 number of teeth on respective gears. Since gear 1 is in mesh with gear 2, therefore speed ratio is. So now we are going to consider this case. So 1 and 2 is in mesh. Then the speed ratio n1 upon n2 is equal to t2 upon t1. Similarly, gear 3. Now gear 2 and 3 is on are on same shaft. Now gear 3 is in meshing with gear 4. So for this we are going to see the velocity ratio or speed ratio is n3 upon n4 is equal to n4 upon n3. This is equation number 2. Then n4 and n5 on a same shaft and n5 is in meshing with n6. Therefore we are going to see the ratio of n5 and n6. So it is n5 upon n6 is equal to t6 upon t5. Now we are going to finding out the final velocity ratio for this compound gear train by multiplying equation 1, 2 and 3. So after multiplication we will get n1 upon n2, then into n3 upon n4, then into n5 upon n6 is equal to t2 upon t1, t4 upon t3 into t6 upon t5. So this equation we may write like this: n1 upon n6 is equal to t2 into t4 into t6 upon t1 into t3 into t5, because n2, n3, n4, n5, so these are having some relation. So n2 is equal to n3, means speed of gear 2 is equal to speed of gear 3 because they are on same shaft. So for example, if gear 2 is having 100 rpm on the same shaft, there is a one more gear, that is gear number 3. So as gear 2 is having 100 rpm, then the shaft is also having 100 rpm and gear number 3 is also having 100 rpm. Therefore n2 is equal to n3. Okay, so it may get cancelled. Similarly, 4 and 5 are mounted on the same shaft C here. So what is the speed of gear 4? The same speed of the gear 5. That's why this also n4 and n5 get cancelled, and finally we will get the equation n1 upon n6 is equal to t2 into t4 into t6 upon t1 into t3 into t5. So by this equation, so finally we come to the conclusion of a speed ratio. So speed ratio is defined in this case speed of first gear to the speed of last or driven gear, and in the form of number of teeth, the product of number of teeth on drivens to the product of number of teeth on drivers. Similarly, train value, speed of last driven or follower upon speed of first driver. So similar way, the train value in the form of number of teeth. So product of number of teeth on drivers to the product of number of teeth on driven. Now we are moving on the advantage. So advantage of compound gear train over the simple gear train is a much larger speed reduction from the first shaft to last shaft can be obtained with a small gears. If simple gear train is to be used, a large speed reduction, the last gear has to be very large. Usually for the speed reduction seven excess of 7 to 1, a simple train is not used and the compound train or worm gearing is employed. So the very much advantage of this compound gear train is a large speed reduction. So after the compound gear train, the next type of gear train is reverted gear train. Now we see what is the meaning of reverted gear train. So reverted gear train, so when the uh, transmission of power from one shaft to another shaft, okay, so but the shafts are coaxial. So in this gear case, we are going to use the reverted gear train. So in previous cases, the driving shaft and driven shaft are parallel to each other. But in this case, the driver and driven shafts are coaxial to each other. Now we see the velocity ratio for reverted gear train. So for this purpose we require some terms. So T1 number of teeth on gear 1, then R1 pitch circle radius of gear 1, then N1 speed of gear 1 in RPM. Similarly, T2, T3, T4 number of teeth on respective gear, R2, R3, R4 pitch circle radius of respective gear, N2, N3, N4 speed of the respective gears. So here, since the distance between center of the shaft of gear 1 and 2 as well as the gears 3 and 4 is same. So center distance between the shaft of gear 1, 2 and 3, 4 is same. So therefore we may get the equation that is R1 plus R2 is equal to R3 plus R4. So as the center distance between these two gear is same, so on this basis we may write R1 plus R2 is equal to R3 plus R4. Also, the circular pitch or module of all the gears is assumed to same. Therefore, the number of teeth on each gear is directly proportional to circumference or radius. So, therefore, similar to R1 plus R2 is equal to R3 plus R4, we may write T1 plus T2 is equal to T3 plus T4 when we are going to assume the module of all gears is same. Now we are going to see the speed ratio for this case. So product of number of teeth on drivens to the product of number of teeth on driver. So here also the speed ratio we will get with this equation, that is n1 upon n4. So this is the first driver gear and this is a driven gear. So n1 upon n4 is equal to n2 into n4 upon t1 into t3. So these are the drivens. T2 and T4. So these are the driven, and uh, T1 and T3, these are the drivers. So such a way that so we are going to find out the velocity ratio or speed ratio with the help of this equation for the reverted gear train. So in this figure, the reverted gear train is in three dimensional view. So this is the first driver. The power is transmitted from this driver to the gear 2. So from gear 2 to gear 3, as they are mounted on a same shaft, and then from gear 3 to gear 4. So in this case there are two driver. So gear 1 and gear 3 is a driver, and gear 2 and gear 4 be the driven. So this gear train is used when the two shaft of driver and driver are in coaxial, not a parallel. Now moving further towards the next type of gear train, that is a epicyclic gear train. So we have see the figure of epicyclic gear train. So in this gear train, there are two gear as shown in figure, so which is having the center O1 and O2. So combinedly there is a connection of arm C. So in this case, the gear B may rotate around the gear A or around the center O while rotating about the center itself O2. So when the gear A and arm C have a common axis O1 about which they can rotate, the B meshes with gear A. So B is in mesh with gear A and has its axis on arm at O2. So axis of gear B is at O2, about which gear B can rotate. If the arm is fixed, the gear train is simple and gear A can drive the gear B or vice versa. So in this case, gear A may be driver or gear may be driver. So when gear A is a driver, then gear B is a driven, and when gear B is a driver, then A become a driven. So but if gear A is fixed and the arm rotates about the axis of gear A, that is O1, then gear B is forced to rotate upon and around the gear A. Such motion is called as epicyclic, and the gear train arranged in such a manner that one or more of their member move upon and under the member as known as epicyclic gear train. Epicyclic, epi means upon and cyclic means around. The epicyclic gear train may be simple or compound. So in this case, two possibilities are there. So when arm is fixed, in that case, when the gear A is rotating and it is a driver, if it is a driver, then B is rotating about the axis O2. But when gear A is fixed, then gear B is going to rotate about the gear A or center of gear A O1 as shown in figure. So when we are going to fixing this axis, then the gear B is going to rotate like this, and such motion is called as epicyclic motion. And there are two types, one is a simple and another one is a epicyclic gear. Sorry, simple epicyclic gear and another one is a compound epicyclic gear. So the figure shown is simple epicyclic gear train, so in which there is only one gear on each shaft. So then we are going to move towards the compound epicyclic gear train. So this figure shows the compound epicyclic gear train. So in this case, two gears are mounted on a same shaft. So in this case, here there is a compound gear. So there are various members of this compound epicyclic gear train. So one is a annulus gear. So we can also call it as a ring gear, which is having internal teeth. Okay. Then this is a sun gear. The compound gear is in meshing with the sun gear, as well as, so first gear is in meshing with the sun gear, as well as second gear is in mesh with the annular gear. So A is the annular gear. Then this D is the driver. So this is the arm H. Then this B and C combination is a compound gear. So when two gears are mounted on a same shaft, it means that compound gear is used in the epicyclic gear train. Then it is called as compound epicyclic gear train. So this is the compound epicyclic gear train. So this is the central blue one is the sun gear. Then this outer one is a ring gear or annular gear, and these are the planetary gear, or we can say the compound gear. So on a single shaft there are two gear. So one of the gear is in mesh with the sun gear and another gear is in mesh with the ring gear. So such combination is called as compound epicyclic gear train. Now the last type of gear train we see in this video is differential gear train. So this differential gear train is used in a automobile. So this differential gear train is used in automobile for serving two functions. So first function is to transmit the motion from engine shaft to rear driving wheel, and second thing, to rotate the rear wheel at different speed while the automobile is taking turn. So it means that, so in this figure, so when our vehicle is taking turn on right side, okay, so then the distance traveled by these inner wheel is less than distance traveled by the outer wheel while taking the turn. So if we want to move the vehicle on turn without skidding or without slipping, then the speed of inner wheel is less than speed of outer wheel. So it is achieved by using differential gear train. So this figure clearly shows that, so R1 is lesser than R2. So when we are going to take the turn on right or left, so this figure represent turn on right side, then the inner wheel are going to rotate with a less distance than the outer wheel. So to achieve this function by using differential. So this is the animation of differential gearbox. So this shaft is the propeller shaft. The power is coming from engine is coming at this location. So this black gear is the bevel pinion. So this blue color big gear is a crown wheel. So here we are going to transmit the power in a perpendicular to the rear wheel. So this is the first function of differential, and second function is to rotate the rear wheel at different speed while automobile taking turn. So this is achieved by using this differential. So in this case, the yellow color gears are the sun gears. Then this red color gear is the are the planetary gear, and this blue color, so these planetary gear are connected to the crown wheel. So when vehicle traveling in a straight on a straight road, then uh, the planetary gear are not going to rotate about itself. So this complete unit is rotating as a single element, and the two shaft is having same speed. But when the vehicle is taking turn, so the inner wheels are facing more resistance than the outer wheel. So that's why this side half shaft is facing more resistance, and this half shaft is a try to stop, okay, or try to reduce the speed. And because of this, the planetary gears are rotating about itself, and whatever be the resistance is transmitted to the another side, as the engine power is coming with a constant rate. Means whatever the resistance offered by this shaft, so that proportional amount of power is transmitted towards the another shaft, and automatically there is the less power transmitted to the inner side wheel, and same proportionate of reduced power is transmitted to the outer wheel, and such a way that the vehicle is taking turn smoothly. So this is a figure, actual figure. So this figure is used to find out the velocity ratio of different gear. So this is a propeller shaft, this is a bevel pinion. So this bevel pinion is in mesh with the crown wheel. So this is a crown wheel, this is a big gear. Then this big gear is in mesh with the cage or arm. So on this arm there are planetary gear. So here there is a sun gear, and from this shaft the power is transmitted towards the wheel. So this is about the differential. Now in a next video we are going to see the tabular method for finding out the velocity ratio of epicyclic gear train, or means the simple epicyclic gear train and compound epicyclic gear train. So along with this we are going to see the tabular method to find out the velocity ratio of the differential gear train. So thank you.